mindfulness. We're recording because we keep these and post these on our YouTube channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this week's edition of the Hump Day Happy Chat Live. I'm Valerie Shepard, Dr. Valerie Renee Shepard, coming to you from the Hartley Center for Mindfulness and Self-Mastery, where we help people master themselves in their lives so they can exquisitely manage whatever their lives bring their way. It is a beautiful Wednesday where I am. I hope that wherever you are, either live or if you're watching the hashtag replay, that you are experiencing a wonderful Wednesday. And it's a great Wednesday here in the United States because tomorrow, Thursday, is going to be Thanksgiving. Yay! And I'm going to eat more than my share of turkey. I guarantee you that. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's Hump Day Happy Chat is about something that's very important, especially as you think about going into a potentially emotionally charged environment with family and friends. Any kind of gathering with family and friends. The title of today's Hump Day Happy Chat is, would somebody let me out of this prison? Would somebody let me out of this prison? We're going to get into exactly what we mean by that in just a minute, but I want to say a couple of welcoming thoughts. So if you are here, please let me know that you're here and do a shout out. I'll do my best to answer your questions live. If you are watching on the replay, if you can hashtag replay, put your comments, your questions. You really drive what comes into these conversations. So when you can give feedback or tell me where things don't make sense or don't line up, or there's just a little brrr, as my friend, dear friend, Dr. Sean would say, perturbation. When there's something going on and it doesn't feel handled, I would love to know it so that I can give you some even more perspective and maybe point you to some additional resources beyond the Hartley Center. We do rely on resources beyond the Hartley Center that we would love to share. The other thing that I'm asking you to do when you apply the teachings, right? So knowledge is not power. Power comes from wisdom, and wisdom is knowledge put into action. Like you're walking the talk, you're in it to win it. Like you're really embodying is what it's called, embodying. It's an embodied expression of the things that you know how to do. So an example of an embodied expression is starting your car, brushing your teeth, walking your dog. Anything that you do without thinking about it is an embodied expression of something you've learned, something you've picked up and practiced habitually over time, created an expression of that in yourself. And so that's what we're doing. Self-mastery is taking the knowledge and turning it into wisdom by embodying it, embodied practice. And whenever you apply the teachings and you get some like feedback to yourself in your own life, I'm sharing the feedback I've gotten from applying the teachings in my own life as I was developing them, and then sharing and applying them in other people's lives or helping them to apply them in their lives. And that is all still just knowledge when it gets to you. It doesn't get to be wisdom until you actually put it into practice and then watch and see what happens in your own unfoldment as the amazing sovereign being that you are. And so when you do that, when you can share, I can't tell you how much it adds to other people's experiences, other people's understanding of who they are and what they are and how the world works, and how to be in the most magnificent energy of bliss as we live the life that is showing up for us in any given moment. And in the Bliss Collective, this private group, this that's growing and growing every day with beautiful souls, magnificent beings coming to play in this space. We are a community on a mission where we're focused on creating more peace, love, and joy on the planet, bliss being even higher than joy on the planet, starting with us, knowing that as I transform myself, my healing changes the world. As I create more joy in myself, my joy is there in the world, upping the amount of joy in the world. And so we got this thing going on, and we'd love to have more and more people be a part of it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing and inviting others, creating the ripple effect. So today's topic about how do I let myself out of this prison? Like, I feel like I'm in a prison created by my thoughts, my feelings, my past. How do I get out of this prison? Who's got the key? So we're delving into an area of emotional intelligence, the EQ, not the IQ, emotional intelligence. You've heard, or you will hear me say whenever I do the meta prayer, but especially with the meta prayer, but also with other places, you hear me with an invocation. May all beings be free. May all beings be free. That invocation is not about geopolitical freedom. It's about emotional freedom. It's about freeing yourself from whatever walls are containing you, that are holding you in or squishing you down or pulling you back, preventing you from being the fully expressed, magnificent being that you are. That you are. Nobody can really change that but you. Nobody can really prevent you from being that but you. Why is that? To be free emotionally is to free yourself from whatever cage you've put yourself in because of your thoughts and your interpretations of what happens to you. And it's neither good nor bad nor right nor wrong. It just is. So I talk in my book and when I speak in my interviews about the prison that I had put myself in. I say in my book that I uncovered unworthiness, feelings of being unlovable, and feelings of being not enough to create the kind of life that I wanted, not loved by the divine. Like, those things are the seminal places for me where I could trace back little dynamics of the way I reacted in interactions and meetings, the way I interacted with people who I deemed were of a superior nature than I. And where did that idea come from? Like, all of those feelings. So what does emotional freedom really mean? It's feeling safe, empowered, courageous enough to try new things, to express differing opinions or to go new places, to be fully you no matter what, whether other people call that quirky or weird or strange or uppity or whatever characteristic or adjective they might use to describe you, that you feel safe, empowered, and courageous to be that anyway, to feel safe in your own skin wherever you travel in that skin, wherever you take your magnificence, to feel comfortable being you. Emotional freedom, that's what it is. To have the freedom to go anywhere, do anything that you deem as your sovereign self, what you want to do and be. Are you getting it? So emotional freedom, how do I get out of my prison? So the first thing is, you created the prison. Again, not good or bad or right or wrong. This is an opportunity for you to go, oh, I did. That's what I did. Oh, I built these walls. And I will say that there was a moment of real disappointment, that I wish I'd known I'd built the walls sooner, because I would have gone about tearing them apart sooner. That was the disappointment. It was not that I built them, because how I built them is what I'm healing, what I'm releasing, what I'm transforming, what I'm using as the foundation for my spiraling up. So there's no reason to regret that stuff. There's no reason to run away from it. There's no reason to shield ourselves from it. The painfulness is a lot tied up into the interpretations that we put on top of the experiences we had. We're going to go through that in a minute. And I want to just stop for one pause here, because I'm not talking about situations where there was an actual perpetrator and an actual victim. I'm not talking necessarily about abuse, emotional abuse, and the trauma of that. Those things are real traumas. And the person experiencing them, and if that's you, I encourage and invite you to seek professional help to help you unpack and walk through that. What I'm saying may offer you some service and support, and I give it in that from that space. And you're probably going to need way more than I can offer in a 20 or 30-minute hump day happy chat. As much as I would love to just wave my magic wand and make it all cleaned up for you. Okay, so this is just normal, everyday picking up of our interpretations of our lives. And there's a lot in emotional freedom. It's like this principle. What's really true is that your feelings are coming from inside you, and you see it in law of attraction, law of reflection, hermetic principle. Like, it's all through metaphysics, quantum physics, and spiritual development. As within, so without. The within is creating the without. The outside is a reflection of what's going on inside me. That's in my teachings. That's in a lot of teachings. A lot of religious, spiritual master teachers will share that with you. Your feelings are not coming from the person over there who you're saying, you are making me angry, you're making me sad, you're belittling me. No, the feeling of being belittled is actually residing inside you, and we'll go into how that happens. The situational dynamics in your life are magnificent invitations. They're triggers. They're triggers. They're designed to support you, to serve you, to help you. They're saying, come over here, look over here. There's something for you in this situation. Go deeper into it. Be curious, lean in. The situational dynamics of your life are magnificent triggers that help you see where you are in your life. Just where am I? Well, for me, I was feeling a lot of blame and shame. I was feeling a lot of incompetence, even though my work was getting accolades and lots of kudos, and I was getting credentials, but somehow I was not feeling enough. I felt like I wasn't seen, I wasn't heard, I wasn't understood. Why aren't these people paying attention to me? I felt unlovable. What was that stuff calling to me? I say in my book, my heart was always calling to me. I wasn't always able to hear, understand, discern, and then make choices based on that. So here's what we're saying. Your life is not trying to mess up your day or teach you a lesson or play tricks on you. The divine principle of love, I call that divine principle God, the principle of love that is omnipotently omnipresent throughout the universe. It moves and breathes as you, as me, in, through, around, and as us. This principle expands itself into the universe. And so what the principle is doing is showing us, oh, that's not love. When I'm feeling anger, resentment, frustration, guilt, shame, that's not love. That's the absence of love. When I'm feeling fear, I'm in the opposite of love. So these situational dynamics that I've taken on, and that many of you and I identified as imprisonment. Those things were happening to show me the way out, to show me that I'm already in a prison and to give me an opportunity to choose out. I think it's amazing when I really get into the metaphysical dynamics of how do I achieve my highest potential? How do I raise my consciousness by going deeper into this pool of situational dynamics and choices and decisions that I am. Consciousness is your avenue to your highest potential. Raising your consciousness is where bliss is where lasting happiness is achieved, is where your life takes on this miraculous, juicy, delicious feeling. Most, if not all of the time, in spite of what would be considered negative situations happening. So the whole idea here is this omnipresent, omnipotent principle of unconditional love is giving us a chance through our life experiences to see where we've disconnected from that principle, where we are no longer living in love. We're living in guilt, shame, blame, punishment, anger, intolerance, hatred, judgment, one of the biggest ones that keeps us separate out of the principle of love. So the emotional prison is that I can't get into love. I can't love myself. And if I can't love myself, I'm not going to be able to love other people at the highest levels. Are you getting this? This is getting juicy and delicious. We're getting into this now. So you have a better chance of creating that which you want, the getting out of the prison, getting out of the emotional prison, by getting better, strengthening your ability to accept, allow, and receive the situations in your life while also discerning the choice point that they're showing you, the opportunity, the possibilities that those situations are showing you that you are at in your life. So let's break this down. Let's break this down into a situational dynamic. Let's say, I bet this has happened to you. You wake up and there's some sort of discomfort, a disturbance, I'll call it. You've got some kind of disturbance. Maybe it just feels a little bit bad or it feels completely horrible. Some kind of feeling, a disturbance within you that you immediately want to get rid of. Like you want to run away from it. You want to take it out, throw it away. You want to get rid of this, get separate from this feeling coming from inside you. And so you might try to just shut it up. You might try to drown it. You might try to drown it in your morning coffee or whatever your morning routine is. You might try to distract yourself. You might come up with some affirmations to try and turn your attention away from it. But then later, it comes up again. So now you're like, okay, I've got to work harder at trying to get this thing to quiet. So you might find a new hobby. You might go read a book. You might immerse yourself in television. That's one of the ways I know that I check out. I'm like, oh, I wonder what's on TV. For a lot of us, it's social media. I check out. I become reactive. Oh, what's in my email? Are you seeing yourself? Think about the ways that you might turn away from what's trying to get your attention, this discomfort, trying to get your attention, trying to serve you into a higher vibration. This prison is trying to show you the door. We built these walls, the things we stuff created these walls, and then we very much want to get out. Can't find the key because we've stuffed the emotions that we aren't willing to feel. So all of these ways that you distract yourself to turn away from the problem, therefore I don't have to feel it, actually anchors the problem and makes it keep coming back to try and get your attention, to show you where you are so that you can make another choice. One of my favorite teachers, Satyen Raja, calls all of us conscious beings of choice. What does that mean? That means the choices that you make moment by moment, not the big ones, not just the big ones, go to college or not go to college, take this job or not take this job, mention that thing to my boyfriend or my sweetie, discipline the children this way or that way, read this book or that book. It's not just those massive decisions. It's the moment by moment decisions that you make 1,001 times a day. And there are subconscious and unconscious decisions that you're making. Like a decision to take no action. I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do. That's a decision, not a good or bad or right or wrong one. The question is it serving me? Is it serving me? How is it serving me to keep doing this or keep not doing that? So uncomfortable feelings. So here's the root. Most of the uncomfortable feelings that we have were actually rooted in us between the ages of 0 and probably 8. It's your child version of you, the aspect, we'll call it the aspect, your little child aspect. So many of you, when I talk to you personally, you will point to things that happened last week. You'll point to things that happened when you were 25. You'll point to things that happened when you were 18. And what I'm constantly saying is, believe it or not, 18 is reflecting something that probably happened at 4. For me, I could trace things back to dynamics that happened in the womb. We're being imprinted on. Scientists now also show that epigenetics is true, meaning we're imprinted on through our DNA by our ancestors. So I am able now to feel things and determine if it's mine or if I'm carrying something and healing it for the ancestors, which is the greatest gift. I love it. It's not always pleasant when it's happening, but such a gift to be able to help my ancestors heal by releasing them from some of the traumas and hurts that they had. Okay, so continuing on here. In this whole uncomfortable place that was created in our formative years, those very first years, when our true self wasn't fully emerged to us, we weren't aware of the magnificence that we are. So in my 4-step process, step 1 is wake up to the truth of who you are, who and what you are, integrated spiritual human person, spirit incarnated into the physical body of the 3rd dimension in order to have the experiences in this more dense dimension. So in those formative years, things happen. We have needs that aren't met. There are needs that children have that if those needs aren't met, then we're in a place of evaluating our circumstances and not feeling helped, not feeling served, not feeling supported, not feeling seen. So our emotional needs as children to be accepted and forgiven, to be cared about, to be free, to have freedom to explore, to be in control, to be loved, to be safe, supported, trusted, believed in, understood, valued. Those are the top 10 emotional needs of children, according to EQI.org, an organization that deals with emotional intelligence, learnings, and education. So you may find different lists, but think about these. To be in control, to feel safe and supported. Imagine if those things are missing, and they could be missing in a single situation. A single situation. You as a child reach for something a caregiver or a parent thinks it's a harmful thing that you're reaching for, and they grab your hand, or maybe they slap your hand away and they tell you, don't do that, because they're afraid for you. Their love for you shows up and afraid to have you be free, afraid to have you explore, afraid to have you learn by burning your hand. So they prevent you from doing it. So what does your little child self potentially take away? I'm not supported. The parent somehow thinks I'm not capable. I don't know what to do in certain situations. I don't understand how to interact with my environment. You might take away that the environment is inherently safe because the parent is preventing you from interacting with it. There are so many different things, and each one of us takes away a myriad of them, not one or two. From one single interaction, we may get 10 interpretations, depending on all kinds of dynamics. Are you seeing how this is? And we build a prison. Why? Not because we intend to, but because we take away from that situation what we can and can't do, who we are and who we aren't. And then through the action of universal laws, which are always 24/7, 365, activated on our behalf. Because of those universal laws, the things we think habitually, the way we behave habitually, the patterns of our actions create that prison. The universe is saying yes to what we're asking for. Our emotional vibration is the ask. It's the thing that we're saying, this is what I want. So situations are triggering those things. So beliefs can get stuck in our subconscious energy system. They secretly generate thoughts. Have you ever awakened and said, where did that thought come from? I do it and I say, cancel clear now. Like, whoop, you're out of here. Cancel clear. So these embedded pain points that spring limiting beliefs just by accident. Nobody sat you down and said, you're not capable of understanding your universe. They just tried to do it for you and make it easier for you and safer for you. But you may have taken away a completely different idea about yourself. And then it keeps happening over and over and over and over. And then you start to sink into that as your way of being you. My question, who are you being when you think you're being you? Oh, I'm being my little girl self imprisoned in an idea that because she's in a container of dark skin, that she's not acceptable as she is, that she's not enough, that she'll never be enough, that she'll always work twice as hard and get half as much. Like those were kinds of things I heard being said around me. Nobody said that to my face. Little Valerie, this is who you are. No, I just, oh. Children are learning whether you sit them down and tell them or not. They're picking up things. They're pinging off their environment. Their heart is hearing. You hear everything you say, just like you hear everything that's being said around you. And so underneath these feelings, there are these secondary feelings. That's where the subconscious and unconscious comes in, these secondary feelings. And you might be going, what the? Sounds kind of crazy. That doesn't apply to me. I know what I'm thinking. Not necessarily. You might say, the emotion that I'm having at this age did not come from my childhood. My childhood was fine. I had a great childhood. What I'm feeling right now is because of what's going on right now. I don't like the way that person talked to me. I'm really bummed because I had a bad, I'm having a bad hair day. I just don't feel good. I'm sick. That's what's bothering me. I'm physically sick. It's what that person said to me yesterday. You may come up with a bunch of intellectual alibis for what's coming up. Why do I feel this way? And when you spend a little time unpacking them, you will probably find there's a secondary and a tertiary emotion under the surface. That's what I found. When I work with people, that's what they find. It's not triggered by what you think. A child's view of the world is not the same as your refined adult view. Excuse me. Excuse me. Now I sneeze. Excuse me. That was fun. Something's wanting to move. There's some energy moving. Yay, you get to witness it. Okay. Leftover emotions. So a child's view, based on the needs of the child, are not the same as the adult's view, based on the needs of the adult. So when you're interpreting something from the past using your adult interpretation, your adult interpretive ability, you actually aren't in the experience of the child. So you have to quiet the adult so that you can actually hear whether those needs were being met by the child. And it's not to go back and blame and shame anybody. It's about knowing you right now. So if these uncomfortable emotions have gotten trapped and other feelings are trapped under them, and you're not able to free yourself, like to go in and understand what they are, you can't be free. So the freedom formula, right? My freedom formula, my 4-step process, it's always the same, no matter what it is that you're dealing with. First, wake up to the truth of who you are. Excuse me. The uncomfortable feeling is showing you what's gotten in the way of you feeling the truth of who you are, which is peace, love, joy, and freedom. That is the true magnificent essence of you. When you're feeling something that's not those things, peace, love, joy, freedom, harmony, love, when you're not feeling those things, there's some kind of false belief, some kind of secondary emotion that's blocking you. It's not the person yelling and screaming at you. It's what they're yelling and screaming is triggering. It's activating something inside. Wow, yelling and screaming reminds me of a horrible experience, reminds me of this situation, reminds me of what I'd like to do, but I'm not allowed to do. I wasn't allowed to yell and scream. Only my dad was, or only my mom was, or only my brother was. And so when I hear yelling and screaming, I'm transported back there, not cognitively, emotionally. This is a dynamic, very rich place. Thank you for asking me to go through this. So while there's a part of you that is feeling one thing, I'm feeling sadness, there's another part of you that might be covering that up with anger. I shouldn't feel sad. Sad people are weak. Sad people can't get things done. Sad people aren't lovable. So I feel like angry at myself for feeling sad, and I try to block it out because sad doesn't get me what I want, which is love, joy, peace. Sad means danger. Sad exposes me to danger. The primitive part of your brain, the amygdala, cares about your survival and your safety, and that's it. And so it's going to put you into a prison that is about being safe and secure, the lowest level on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So it gets messages from caregivers that says, no, that's not appropriate, that's unacceptable. You're going to be trained by your inner self to go after acceptable. That's a prison. Are you getting this? So the formula, the inner archaeology of the self. Step 1, wake up to the truth of who you are. These disturbances are not that. So then we go to step 2, identify the disturbance, shake up, heal, and release it. Wake up, shake up and release it, shake up and heal and release it. Write a new story of who you're going to be in this moment, not in your magnificent whole life, but in this moment, who am I going to be? And then take up the reins and do whatever's necessary to be that person. Take a breath, quiet down, separate yourself from the situation. These situational dynamics that come up, identify what you're feeling in the wake up. Identify what you're feeling. Wow, I'm feeling really sad. Is that about this moment? Review the moment. Come present in the moment. Is it really about this moment or about something from my past? Why is this situation associated with sadness? And is that really what's going on? So you identify feeling one, feeling two, whatever's on the surface, and then you go below that to see what's underneath it. That's in the wake up. And then you get into the shake up and release. What's the interpretation? Am I really interpreting this from my highest self, or am I interpreting this from a wounded area? Something the child experienced that kind of gave her a misinterpretation, just a little skew. It's not good. It's not bad. It's not right. It's not wrong. And there's no one to blame. It's not about that. It's about owning yourself. It's about personal responsibility. I am a sovereign being in my life, and my life will unfold the way I choose. The way I choose. I'm accepting, allowing, and receiving this situation exactly as it is, and I'm looking at it to find what's in it for me. What is the possibility laden in this dynamic, in this situation, in this relationship, in this conversation, in this aha moment? Find the limiting belief. Get to the root cause. And even if you don't, make a new choice. How do I raise my vibration? How do I raise my consciousness? How do I allow myself to hold both, to hold this experience the way it was and the way my inner child interpreted it, in love, compassion, tenderness, care? How do I hold that and say to my inner child, Valerie, that thing that happened was tough. That thing that happened gave us an interpretation, an opportunity to see ourselves in a certain light. And that's not the truth. That was a situational dynamic. And now we get an opportunity to hold ourselves at a higher vibration. So we can lovingly release this, say, thank you. I appreciate the situation gave me certain things that protected me, that my amygdala used for survival. And look how far I've come and what I've accomplished. And I'm ready to be free of this. I'm ready to be free. That's a makeup step. I heal it, forgive myself, forgive all people involved, and move to higher ground. What is it I want to create right now? I want to be able to feel safe in these kinds of conversations. I want to be free. I intend that I move in a different energy. So you create the new story, and then you create the means to live it. So some of you are creating the means to live it by being in our Bliss Collective, or by working with me privately, or by joining one of my groups, or by going to one of my retreats. All of those things are part of the makeup and take up steps 3 and 4. Actually putting your boots on and walking in the knowledge till it becomes embodied wisdom. Take action. So, like an example might be, here's one. When I think about all the things I want to do and see myself not doing them, that can create a disturbance inside. And the disturbance is sadness, guilt, shame, anger. The disturbance is about the way I interpret that I'm here when I want to be there. Then those feelings, interpretations are attached to some limiting belief about me. It's not okay to be angry. It's not okay to feel guilt. It's not okay to not reach my goals. It's not acceptable to be here when I should be here. That's not acceptable. It shows my laziness, shows my unworthiness, shows my immaturity, limiting beliefs. I'm not worthy because I haven't done it. Look around me, other people have done it, I haven't, I'm not worthy. So the unmet need that created this belief is what you're going after. What is the need that the child had that created this idea that being here when she wants to be there is not okay? I didn't get it done. So in my household, it might have been playing with a toy and trying to build something, and somehow I could never get the pieces, Legos. I could never get the pieces to build what I wanted. Maybe it's a book that I wanted to read, and I lost the book and never got to finish it. There can be so many things. The payoff that I get for continuing this limiting belief is that's the prison. I just keep staying there. I keep playing safe. I keep contracting into smallness. The powerful moment is when we realize, hey, the prison is coming from inside me and I've always had the key. The prison is coming from inside me. I've always had the key. And when you go through the 4 steps, wake up, shake up and release the things that are not the truth about you, and go into the new story that you want to create that tells that limiting belief, I hear you, I see you, and I'm making a new choice. I'm making a new choice for both of us, the adult and the inner child. And then step 4, I'm creating the means to live it as embodied wisdom, day in and day out. That's celebration. That's the place where the bliss becomes possible, from the elevation into higher and higher vibrations of joy. Inside out living, hashtag happy inside out. The world is supposed to be lived inside out. The emotional prison that you've created, you can free yourself from. Just take some beautiful belief in action, love in action. That's it. That's it. Yay. Coming to the end of today's Hump Day Happy Chat, a little bit longer one than usual, but I wanted to cover this in depth. And as we're going into holiday season, or any time when you're going to be spending time with an other, remember that they may trigger some of these little pain points inside of you, and allow yourself to go in and deal with those pain points rather than making it about them, rather than telling them off because they upset you. Remember to allow yourself the space to say, oh, what's going on here? What's going on here? So I always close with the meta prayer. I wish you ease and peace and grace at grabbing your key every time a situation comes up where you feel locked in, imprisoned by yourself, that you know how to grab the key, that you grab it and create magic in your life with it. And we close with the meta prayer. Say it with me in your heart. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be safe. May all beings be happy. May all beings awaken to the light of their true nature. The light of their true nature is not a prison. It is expansive. It is rich. It is delightful. It is purpose-fueled. The light of your true nature is in your magnificent essence, the divinity of you. You need only activate it to be it. And may all beings be free, emotionally free. Thank you for joining today's Hump Day Happy Chat. Many blessings to you. Bye now.